What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. WBC heavyweight champion and lineal heavyweight champion Tyson the Gypsy King Fury is shot. He's a shot fighter, ladies and gentlemen. Based on what I saw in the crossover fight with him and UFC heavyweight champion, the guy that's known as the hardest hitter in combat sports, like Deontay Wilder, has a PhD in the one-hitter quitter, was able to do what no other crossover fighter was able to do when they entered the sport of boxing. He was able to perform at a high level, show his boxing skills, show that he was just not a guy that was going to come and swing for the fences with no technique behind it. Francis Ngannou put on a boxing display from a crossover fighter, the likes that we have never seen before. Look at Muhammad Ali when he fought that Karate Kid wannabe guy. That guy had no skills. He was just trying to kick Ali in the shins, and that actually hurt Ali rest of his career, actually. He was never the same fighter. He didn't have the movement after that fight. You know, him getting on the bicycle, doing the Ali shuffle, you know, dancing around the ring, hitting his opponent with the jab. We didn't see too much of that after that fight, as that guy kicked Ali in the shin numerous of times, and Ali never was the same as far as the movement of Muhammad Ali. We seen it in the Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight with Conor McGregor, as Floyd Mayweather Jr. carried Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor probably was ahead before Floyd Mayweather Jr. stopped him, but Conor McGregor technique was all amateurs at best. You know, he was doing a lot of slapping, man. He wasn't throwing the punches correctly. You know, you could tell that he was a guy that was not skilled in the boxing ring at all. But we seen with Francis Ngannou, a guy that was doing a good job, man, jabbing to the body. He actually caught Tyson Fury with the left hand instead of the right hand, which he's known to throw with ferocity inside that UFC cage. But he's able to land Tyson Fury, who stayed in. You know, Tyson threw it through a 1-2, but stayed there way too long and got caught with a counter straight check left hook, and he got hit and knocked his equilibrium off as he got down, got back up, and he was able to continue on. But a lot of people call Tyson Fury chinny. But when you talk about the heavyweight division, man, one punch can change everything. That's why this fight was a little bit different than fights like Mayweather, McGregor. You got guys fighting at a lower weight, so skill-wise, it's going to be much, much different. You got to have technique behind your ability. You can't just come in there and land one punch when you're fighting in those smaller weight classes. But in the heavyweight division, one punch can change everything. And Francis Ngannou showed that with that counter check left hook, he was able to land in the back of in the back of Tyson Fury's head. Great performance by Ngannou, but Tyson Fury is a shot fighter, ladies and gentlemen. He actually was shot before this fight. If you go back and look at the Dillian White fight, I started noticing actually in that Dillian White fight, I was like, man, he ain't the same. But you couldn't really tell because Dillian White ain't no elite fighter. Never has been, never will be. You know, his promoter, Eddie Hearn, pumped him up to be some top 5 heavyweight, but Dillian White is a guy that's very, very limited. And he's not good barometer for Tyson Fury coming off the victory over Deontay Wilder in the third fight. Now in the third fight of Deontay Wilder, I kind of noticed that he was slipping, but he wasn't shot. But I was like, man, this ain't the same Fury that I seen in the second fight and even in the first fight. You know, he was able to get the job done. Wilder fought a great fight. Wilder dropped him twice, but even in that fight, I noticed that he kind of slipped a little bit, but he wasn't shot in that fight. But then I saw the fight with Tyson Fury versus Dillian White. I'm like, yeah, he ain't the same. He's not the same fighter. He's a shell of his former self. And then you really couldn't tell in the Derek Chisora fight when he fought him, because you know Derek Chisora is shot too. He been shot. You know, we seen that in the second fight with Joseph Parker when he got beat to hell. You know, he got taken behind the woodshed in that Joseph Parker second fight and got beat up. Got his hat brought to him in that fight. So it was, you know, you couldn't really tell in that fight. It was like everybody was just shitting on him in that fight, saying, man, why you fighting Chisora? Chisora got about like 1,000 losses. You know, he looking out for a friend and all this, that, and the third. I understand that, but why are you fighting this guy? And he was able to beat Chisora convincingly, and people didn't take too much from that fight. But that was just two shy fighters fighting. But he actually showed wear and tear in the Dillian White fight, and actually it started happening in the beginning stages of the third Wilder fight. But he was still at a high level fighter. He still was a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter, but he wasn't no Fury that we saw in the second Wilder fight or the Fury that we saw in the first Wilder fight. So he actually started showing slippage in the third Wilder fight, but when he got to the Dillian White fight, he was a shot fighter in my opinion, and he got exposed fighting a guy that was better than expected, put on a better performance than anybody could have seen. I was sitting there watching this fight. I was thinking, man, if he pull this off, this is going to be the biggest upset since Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. That's what I was thinking when I was sitting there watching the fight. You know, but again, but with all that being said, I think Tyson Fury won the fight. I thought he rallied in the last two rounds and pulled the fight off. I thought I had a 6-4 Tyson Fury with the knockdown by Ngannou. I give Fury a 1-point win in that fight. You know, it was a great performance by Ngannou. And I would like to see Ngannou fight Wilder next. That would be a great fight. Saudi Arabia put up big dollars for the Fury-Ngannou crossover fight. Just think, imagine what type of money they could put up for a Ngannou-Wilder fight. Because you know that fight ain't going 10 rounds. That's one thing we're going to know about that fight. That fight ain't going to no judges. You know, everybody want to talk about robbery. They thought Ngannou won, or some people thought Fury won, and this, that, and the third. We ain't got to worry about all that with Ngannou and Wilder. Somebody going to sleep, because you got two guys with a PhD and the one-hitter quitter, and that's the fight I want to see next. Now, I heard Frank Warren, who promotes Tyson Fury, say that they're looking to sign Francis Ngannou, and they got a couple of fighters up under their stable that they could possibly match up with Ngannou. You know, a George fight, or you fight against Zhang, the left-handed southpaw from China, who's coming off a career best back-to-back victories over George. So that's a couple of fighters that are with Queensberry Promotions. And Frank Warren, who promoted this fight along with Bob Arum, are looking to sign Francis Ngannou. But those fights are good fights, but the best fight out there is the Deontay Wilder fight. Francis Ngannou is 37 years old. Deontay Wilder is 38 years old. Both guys are not long for this game of boxing, so I think that's the best possible matchup to put those two guys in there, and it'll be a very, very good fight. That fight will sell here in the United States. They could put that fight in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Or they could put that fight over there in Saudi Arabia, which in all likelihood would end up over there because they can pay the most money. They got the bag. It was rumored that Tyson Fury made $50 million for the Francis Ngannou fight, and Francis Ngannou made 8 figures, much more than he made when he was fighting in the UFC. And based off this performance, you're going to probably see a whole lot of more top-level, star-level UFC fighters come over to boxing based on the performance by Francis Ngannou. Adile, I forgot his name, Israel, he'll probably come over here to the sport of boxing. Usman, who I think is on a losing streak. I think he lost his last couple of fights. He might be wanting to come over here and fight in boxing. I can see Usman maybe fighting with Jake Paul. That would be a big, big fight. With all that being said, Tyson Fury is a shot fighter. Tyson Fury is on the back nine of his career. You will not see the Tyson Fury that fought Deontay Wilder in the first and second fight ever again. I think he came into the Ngannou fight out of shape, but he said he had a 12-week training camp. So for him to put on that type of performance after a 12-week training camp and look the way he looked in the weigh-in, he was 9 pounds overweight, 9 pounds heavier than he was in his last fight. So he did not take Francis Ngannou seriously enough. I don't think he came into the fight thinking he could just come in there and knock him out real quick. Even though he did come out in that first round swinging for the fences, but you know, Ngannou ducked it, and Ngannou stepped to him in a very professional, technical way, and I think that surprised Fury. And Fury jab was not there last night, but again, I think he didn't want to throw that jab a lot because he was scared of getting countered. He tasted the power of Ngannou, and he didn't want to get caught with that type of power. you know, in that fight after the first knockdown. So he was very, very cautious, and he basically won the fight on experience, man, as Ngannou was very inactive down the stretch, didn't throw a lot of punches. He might have got a little winded, and doing those dead spots, Fury was able to use his experience and eke out the last 2 rounds. Therefore, I had him winning the fight 6-4. I had it 4-4 after round 8, which meant Ngannou was ahead with the knockdown. But again, Fury was able to rally win rounds 9, rounds 10. He was able to eke out a 1-point victory over Francis Ngannou. Now, Fury has a fight lined up with unified heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk. That fight is supposed to take place December 23rd in Saudi Arabia. It's the same destination of the Fury and Ngannou fight. And that fight is a lot more competitive and a lot more interesting than it was before Fury went to bed against Ngannou and showed himself, in my opinion, to be a shot fighter. So I favored Usyk to win that fight now. I actually had favored Fury before this performance, and actually, like I said, after that Dillian White fight, I was like, he shot. So actually, ever since that Dillian White fight, I've been looking at Usyk as the favorite in that matchup. And if he's able to get the victory, hopefully we get Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder. That would be a big, big fight and a big, big matchup here in America. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.